Stoic minimalism is a philosophy that blends the principles of Stoicism with the practice of minimalism, resulting in a lifestyle that emphasizes simplicity, intentionality, and self-discipline. At its core, it is about focusing on what is essential and letting go of the excess, whether that excess comes in the form of material possessions, distractions, or emotional entanglements. By adopting the Stoic mindset and embracing minimalism, individuals can cultivate a life of purpose and contentment, living in harmony with their values rather than being overwhelmed by external circumstances or societal expectations. Stoic minimalism offers a pathway to inner peace, resilience, and freedom by encouraging us to focus on what truly matters and to shed the unnecessary burdens that complicate our lives. The philosophy of Stoicism, which originated in ancient Greece and was later developed in Rome, teaches that we should strive to live in accordance with nature, embracing virtue as the highest good. Central to Stoic thought is the idea of distinguishing between what is within our control and what is not. According to the Stoics, we should only concern ourselves with things that are within our control, such as our actions, thoughts, and attitudes, while accepting the things that are outside of our control, like the opinions of others, external events, or the passage of time. This distinction is key to achieving a state of tranquility, as it allows us to stop worrying about things we cannot change and instead focus our energy on what we can influence. In the context of Stoic minimalism, this principle translates into a conscious effort to eliminate distractions and excess from our lives. By focusing only on what is essential and within our control, we free ourselves from the anxiety and stress that often accompany the pursuit of material wealth, status, or perfection. Stoic minimalism encourages us to simplify our lives, not just in terms of physical possessions, but also in our mental and emotional lives. It asks us to let go of the need for constant validation, to release the fear of missing out, and to embrace a mindset of contentment with what we have. Minimalism, as a lifestyle, involves reducing the number of possessions we own and the commitments we take on, so that we can focus on what truly adds value to our lives. It is about intentional living, choosing only the things that serve a purpose or bring joy, and discarding the rest. When combined with Stoicism, minimalism takes on a deeper philosophical dimension. It becomes not just about decluttering our physical space, but also about decluttering our minds and hearts. Stoic minimalism encourages us to examine our desires and attachments, asking whether they are truly aligned with our values or whether they are merely distractions that pull us away from a life of virtue and meaning. One of the key tenets of Stoic minimalism is the practice of self-discipline. The Stoics believed that self-control and mastery over one's desires were essential to living a good life. In modern society, we are constantly bombarded with advertisements, social pressures, and cultural messages that encourage consumption and excess. Stoic minimalism offers a counterpoint to this by advocating for restraint, moderation, and mindfulness. It challenges us to resist the temptation to accumulate more, to chase after fleeting pleasures, or to compare ourselves to others. Instead, it asks us to cultivate an inner sense of sufficiency, recognizing that true happiness does not come from external possessions or achievements, but from within. This practice of self-discipline extends beyond material possessions to our emotional lives as well. The Stoics emphasized the importance of controlling our reactions to external events, rather than being controlled by them. They taught that while we cannot always choose what happens to us, we can choose how we respond. Stoic minimalism encourages us to apply this principle to our emotional lives by letting go of unnecessary emotional baggage, such as resentment, envy, or anger, that weighs us down and prevents us from living with clarity and peace. By practicing emotional minimalism, we learn to focus on the present moment and to cultivate a calm and balanced mind, free from the turbulence of negative emotions. Another important aspect of Stoic minimalism is the focus on gratitude and contentment. The Stoics believed that happiness comes not from having more, but from wanting less. They taught that we should be grateful for what we have, rather than constantly striving for more. In a culture that often equates success with accumulation, whether of wealth, possessions, or experiences, Stoic minimalism encourages us to adopt a mindset of sufficiency. It asks us to recognize the abundance in our lives and to appreciate the simple pleasures that we often take for granted. By focusing on what we have, rather than what we lack, we cultivate a sense of contentment and peace. Gratitude also plays a crucial role in helping us detach from our desires and expectations. The Stoics taught that attachment to external things, whether material possessions, relationships, or outcomes, leads to suffering. Stoic minimalism encourages us to practice non-attachment by recognizing that all external things are temporary and beyond our control. By cultivating gratitude for the present moment and for the things we already have, we reduce the power that desire and attachment have over us. This shift in perspective allows us to live more freely, without being enslaved by the constant pursuit of more. Stoic minimalism also emphasizes the importance of aligning our actions with our values. The Stoics believed that virtue, living in accordance with reason and acting in harmony with our highest values, was the key to a good life. In the context of minimalism, this means making choices that reflect our core values, rather than being driven by societal pressures or superficial desires. For example, if we value connection and community, we might choose to prioritize relationships over material possessions. If we value creativity and personal growth, we might choose to spend our time on activities that nurture our talents and expand our minds, rather than on accumulating status or wealth. By aligning our actions with our values, we create a life that is more meaningful and fulfilling. Stoic minimalism asks us to regularly reflect on our priorities and to question whether our choices are truly serving our highest good. This practice of reflection helps us to avoid the trap of mindless consumption or busyness, and instead encourages us to live with intentionality and purpose. It reminds us that a life well lived is not one that is filled with things, but one that is filled with meaning, connection, and virtue. In addition to helping us cultivate inner peace and contentment, Stoic minimalism also promotes resilience in the face of life's challenges. The Stoics believed that adversity is an inevitable part of life, and that we should prepare ourselves to face difficulties with courage and equanimity. By embracing minimalism, we reduce our dependence on external things for our sense of security and well-being. This makes us more resilient when we encounter setbacks, losses, or hardships. When we are not overly attached to material possessions, social status, or external validation, we are better able to adapt to change and to find contentment even in difficult circumstances. Stoic minimalism also encourages us to cultivate a mindset of abundance, rather than scarcity. While minimalism might seem like an exercise in deprivation, it is actually about focusing on what truly matters and letting go of the rest. By removing the excess from our lives, we create more space, both physically and mentally, for the things that bring us joy, fulfillment, and connection. In this sense, Stoic minimalism is not about having less, but about having more of what really counts. It is about recognizing that we already have enough, and that true abundance comes not from accumulation, but from appreciating and fully experiencing the present moment. Stoic minimalism is a philosophy that combines the principles of Stoicism with the practice of minimalism to create a life of simplicity, intentionality, and virtue. It encourages us to focus on what is essential, to let go of the excess that distracts us from our true values, and to cultivate inner peace and resilience in the face of life's challenges. By embracing Stoic minimalism, we can free ourselves from the burdens of materialism, emotional turmoil, and societal pressures, and instead live a life that is aligned with our highest ideals. Through gratitude, non-attachment, and self-discipline, we can create a life of meaning, purpose, and contentment, grounded in the recognition that true happiness comes not from external things, but from within. Stoic minimalism embodies the philosophy of simplicity, moderation, and detachment from material possessions. Rooted in the Stoic principles of focusing on what truly matters and cultivating inner strength, Stoic minimalism offers a pathway to tranquility, contentment, and freedom from the distractions of excess. At the core of Stoic minimalism is the idea of decluttering not just one's physical space but also one's mind and soul. By simplifying one's surroundings and reducing the reliance on material possessions, individuals can create a sense of mental clarity and inner peace. This practice of minimalism aligns with Stoic teachings on detachment from external things and the cultivation of inner virtues as the true source of happiness and fulfillment. Stoic minimalism also emphasizes the importance of living in accordance with nature and focusing on the essentials of life. By embracing simplicity and moderation in one's lifestyle choices, individuals can free themselves from the endless pursuit of material wealth and possessions. This practice enables individuals to redirect their energy and attention towards cultivating virtues such as wisdom, courage, temperance, and justice, qualities that lead to a truly fulfilling and meaningful life. Furthermore, Stoic minimalism encourages individuals to practice gratitude for what they have and to cultivate a sense of contentment with the present moment. By appreciating the simple pleasures of life and finding joy in the little things, individuals can experience a profound sense of fulfillment that transcends material wealth and possessions. This practice of gratitude and contentment fosters a state of inner peace and tranquility, allowing individuals to find happiness in the here and now. In essence, Stoic minimalism offers a powerful antidote to the consumerist culture that often leads to discontent, stress, and distraction. By embracing simplicity, moderation, and detachment from material possessions, individuals can cultivate a sense of inner freedom, contentment, and resilience. Through the lens of Stoicism, minimalism becomes not just a lifestyle choice but a profound philosophy that guides individuals towards a more meaningful, Stoic minimalism, when applied to our daily lives, encourages us to reconsider not just how we interact with material possessions, but also how we approach time, relationships, and commitments. One of the key insights from Stoicism is that time is our most valuable resource. Unlike material wealth, time cannot be replenished or earned back once it is spent. The Stoic philosopher Seneca famously warned against the waste of time, urging people to guard it fiercely, as it is the one thing we each have in finite supply. In a world that constantly demands our attention and pulls us in multiple directions, Stoic minimalism teaches us to be intentional with how we spend our time, ensuring that it is aligned with our values and priorities. This intentional approach to time requires us to make conscious choices about how we structure our days and what we give our energy to. In modern society, there is a pervasive culture of busyness, where being constantly occupied is often equated with being productive or successful. However, Stoic minimalism challenges this mindset by encouraging us to focus on quality over quantity, both in terms of activities and relationships. Rather than filling our schedules with endless tasks, meetings, or obligations, we are encouraged to prioritize the things that truly matter and to let go of the rest. By doing so, we create more space for reflection, creativity, and meaningful connections. In addition to helping us manage our time more effectively, Stoic minimalism also invites us to be more mindful of our relationships. The Stoics believe that we should cultivate relationships that are based on mutual respect, wisdom, and virtue. Stoic minimalism takes this principle further by encouraging us to evaluate the quality of our relationships and to let go of toxic or superficial connections that do not align with our values. Just as we declutter our physical spaces, we can also declutter our social lives, focusing on building deep, meaningful relationships rather than accumulating a large number of acquaintances. This does not mean cutting people out of our lives without cause, but rather being thoughtful about where we invest our emotional energy and ensuring that our relationships contribute to our well-being and personal growth. This approach to relationships also applies to our relationship with ourselves. Stoic minimalism teaches us to cultivate self-awareness and self-reflection, regularly examining our thoughts, emotions, and actions to ensure they are in alignment with our values. The Stoics believe that we should aim to live in harmony with reason, acting in accordance with our highest virtues, such as wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. By embracing minimalism, we simplify our internal lives as well, letting go of irrational fears, desires, and attachments that cloud our judgment and lead to unnecessary suffering. In this way, Stoic minimalism becomes a tool for self-mastery, helping us to cultivate a calm. In today's fast-paced world, we are constantly bombarded with information, notifications, and stimuli that compete for our attention. These distractions not only prevent us from focusing on what truly matters, but they also contribute to stress, anxiety, and a sense of overwhelm. Stoic minimalism encourages us to consciously reduce these distractions by setting boundaries with technology, social media, and other sources of noise that pull us away from the present moment. This might involve limiting our screen time, practicing digital detoxes, or creating routines that prioritize focused, uninterrupted work. By clearing away these distractions, we create more mental space for clarity, creativity, and deeper engagement with the things that truly matter. In addition to reducing distractions, Stoic minimalism also promotes the idea of voluntary discomfort as a way to build resilience and cultivate gratitude. The Stoics believe that we should regularly practice enduring discomfort or deprivation in order to strengthen our character and remind ourselves of how little we actually need to be content. This might involve fasting, sleeping on the floor, or going without certain luxuries for a period of time. These practices help us to detach from our dependence on material comforts and to appreciate the simple things in life. Moreover, by voluntarily exposing ourselves to discomfort, we become better equipped to handle the inevitable challenges and hardships that life presents. Stoic minimalism teaches us that true freedom comes not from avoiding discomfort, but from embracing it as a natural part of life and learning to thrive despite it. This practice of voluntary discomfort also helps to shift our mindset from one of scarcity to one of abundance. When we regularly expose ourselves to less, whether it's fewer possessions, fewer comforts, or fewer distractions, we begin to appreciate the richness of what we already have. Stoic minimalism encourages us to focus on the present moment and to find contentment in the here and now, rather than constantly striving for more. By practicing gratitude for the simple things, such as a warm bed, a nourishing meal, or the companionship of a loved one, we cultivate a sense of inner abundance that is not dependent on external circumstances. This mindset of sufficiency helps to quiet the constant desire for more and allows us to experience greater peace and satisfaction in our daily lives. Stoic minimalism also encourages us to adopt a long-term perspective, focusing on what is truly important in the grand scheme of things. The Stoics believed that we should regularly contemplate the impermanence of life and the inevitability of death as a way to keep our priorities in check. This practice, known as memento mori, remember you will die, serves as a powerful reminder that our time on earth is limited and that we should not waste it on trivial pursuits or superficial concerns. By embracing this long-term perspective, we also become more resilient in the face of adversity. The Stoics taught that suffering is a natural part of life, and that we should not try to avoid it, but rather, learn to accept it with grace and dignity. Stoic minimalism helps us to cultivate this resilience by stripping away the unnecessary layers of complexity and excess that often magnify our suffering. When we are not weighed down by the constant pursuit of more, whether it's more possessions, more status, or more approval, we are better able to weather life's storms with clarity and composure. This resilience is not about suppressing our emotions or pretending that we are unaffected by challenges, but rather about developing the inner strength to face adversity with courage and wisdom. Ultimately, Stoic minimalism is about cultivating freedom from the distractions, desires, and attachments that prevent us from living fully in the present moment. It is about freeing ourselves from the societal pressures that tell us we need to constantly do more, have more, and be more in order to be happy or successful. By embracing minimalism, we create space for the things that truly matter: our relationships, our values, our personal growth, and our connection to the world around us. This freedom allows us to live with greater clarity, purpose, and fulfillment, grounded in the recognition that true happiness comes not from external things, but from within. Stoic minimalism offers a powerful framework for living a more intentional, meaningful, and virtuous life. By focusing on what is essential, letting go of distractions and excess, and cultivating self-discipline, gratitude, and resilience, we can create a life that is aligned with our values and free from the unnecessary burdens that complicate modern living. Stoic minimalism teaches us that true freedom comes not from accumulating more, but from recognizing that we already have enough, and that the key to happiness lies not in external things, but in our own thoughts, actions, and attitudes. Through the practice of Stoic minimalism, we can cultivate a life of contentment, peace, and purpose, grounded in the wisdom of ancient philosophy and the simplicity of modern minimalism. Stoic minimalism also has profound implications for how we engage with the world around us. While it encourages a focus on personal virtue and simplicity, it does not advocate for isolation or disengagement from society. Instead, Stoic minimalism teaches us to engage with the world intentionally, contributing to the common good while maintaining inner peace and clarity. The Stoics believe that we are all interconnected and that our actions should reflect a sense of responsibility toward others and the greater whole. This principle of cosmopolitanism, or the belief that we are all citizens of the world, is central to Stoic thought and aligns naturally with the minimalist idea of focusing on what truly matters. In the context of Stoic minimalism, this sense of interconnectedness encourages us to simplify our lives not just for our own benefit, but also to make a positive impact on the world. By consuming less, we reduce our ecological footprint and contribute to a more sustainable planet. By focusing on the essentials, we create more time and space in our lives to contribute to our communities, support causes we care about, and nurture relationships that bring value to our lives and the lives of others. This outward focus reflects the Stoic belief that living a virtuous life involves not just personal growth, but also contributing to the well-being of society. Stoic minimalism also encourages us to rethink our relationship with wealth and material success. In modern society, wealth is often seen as a measure of success and status, and many people equate happiness with the accumulation of material goods. However, both Stoicism and minimalism challenge this assumption by emphasizing that true happiness comes from within and that external wealth is not a reliable source of contentment. The Stoics believe that wealth, like any external thing, is indifferent. It can be used for good or ill, but it does not determine a person's worth or happiness. To the Stoics, what matters is how we use the resources we have, and whether we do so in accordance with our values. Stoic minimalism takes this idea further by encouraging us to question our attachment to material wealth and to focus instead on cultivating inner wealth, such as wisdom, virtue, and resilience. This doesn't mean rejecting material success outright, but rather approaching it with a sense of detachment and perspective. By practicing minimalism, we reduce the importance we place on material possessions and free ourselves from the anxiety that often accompanies the pursuit of wealth. This allows us to focus on what truly matters: our relationships, our personal growth, and our contributions to the world, without being distracted by the endless desire for more. In this way, Stoic minimalism helps us to cultivate a healthier and more balanced relationship with money. Rather than seeing money as a goal in itself, we can view it as a tool that can be used to support our values and enhance our well-being. This shift in mindset allows us to approach financial decisions with more clarity and intentionality, focusing on how our spending aligns with our values rather than being driven by societal pressures or fleeting desires. For example, instead of spending money on things that provide short-term pleasure or status, we might choose to invest in experiences that foster personal growth, relationships, or a deeper connection to the world around us. Another important aspect of Stoic minimalism is the cultivation of mental and emotional resilience. The Stoics believed that we should prepare ourselves for adversity by regularly contemplating the worst-case scenario, what they called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. By mentally rehearsing potential hardships or challenges, we can reduce the fear and anxiety that often accompany uncertainty and change. Stoic minimalism incorporates this practice by encouraging us to simplify our lives in a way that makes us less vulnerable to external disruptions. When we are not overly dependent on material possessions, social status, or external validation, we become more adaptable and resilient in the face of life's inevitable challenges. This mental preparedness also helps us to cultivate a sense of inner peace, knowing that we are capable of handling whatever comes our way. By embracing minimalism, we reduce the number of things we feel we need to control or protect, which in turn reduces the amount of stress and anxiety in our lives. Stoic minimalism teaches us to focus on what is within our control, our thoughts, actions, and attitudes, while accepting with grace the things that are beyond our control. This acceptance allows us to approach life's challenges with a calm and balanced mind, rather than being overwhelmed by fear or frustration. Moreover, Stoic minimalism encourages us to practice equanimity, or the ability to remain calm and composed in the face of both success and failure. The Stoics believe that we should not become overly attached to positive outcomes or devastated by negative ones, as both are temporary and ultimately beyond our control. By embracing minimalism, we learn to let go of the need for constant success or achievement, recognizing that true fulfillment comes from living in accordance with our values rather than from external accomplishments. This mindset helps us to remain grounded and resilient, even when things don't go as planned. Stoic minimalism also promotes the idea of living with intention and purpose. The Stoics believe that we should live each day as if it were our last, making the most of the time we have and focusing on what truly matters. This sense of urgency is not meant to induce anxiety, but rather to remind us that life is short and that we should not waste it on trivial pursuits or distractions. Stoic minimalism encourages us to be mindful of how we spend our time, ensuring that our daily actions are aligned with our long-term goals and values. This might involve setting aside time for reflection, prioritizing meaningful work over busy work, or simplifying our commitments so that we can focus on what truly matters. Living with intention also means being mindful of how we interact with the world around us. Stoic minimalism encourages us to approach the world with a sense of gratitude and appreciation, recognizing the beauty and abundance that exist in the present moment. By focusing on the essentials and letting go of distractions, we create more space in our lives to connect with nature, to appreciate the simple pleasures of life, and to cultivate a deeper sense of presence and awareness. This mindful approach to life helps us to experience greater joy and fulfillment, even in the midst of life's challenges. Stoic minimalism offers a powerful framework for living a life of simplicity, purpose, and resilience. By combining the wisdom of Stoicism with the practical principles of minimalism, we can create a life that is focused on what truly matters, our values, our relationships, and our personal growth, while letting go of the distractions, attachments, and excess that complicate modern living. Stoic minimalism teaches us to cultivate inner peace and contentment, not by seeking more, but by recognizing that we already have enough. It encourages us to live with intention, to engage with the world mindfully, and to embrace the challenges of life with courage and equanimity. Through this practice, we can create a life of meaning and fulfillment, grounded in the timeless wisdom of Stoic philosophy and the simplicity of minimalist living.